Sounds good.
All right. Hi, Dirk. My name is Ash Singh. I am living here in Switzerland as a tax haven for the last 20 years as a VC investor, representing money from around the world. Dirk, tell me what you're working on.
Hi, Ash. Great to meet you. My name is Dirk, and I'm the CEO and the founder of ESG Explorer. Ash, did you know that each year corporations are spending billions and billions of dollars to achieve carbon neutrality and other environmental initiatives? But in reality, companies get stuck greenwashing. So we have developed a solution for businesses who are serious about limiting their carbon emissions and actually achieving tangible, sustainable development goals. So we deliver a scalable, a cloud-based platform to manage carbon footprint in real time across an organization's entire value chain so that greenwashing can be eliminated. And unlike expensive and uncommitted consultants, like I was one in my previous life, our process and data analytics actually pinpoint goals, reimagining sustainability at a fraction of the cost that corporations currently spend. And before I was a partner with the Big Four, and I worked in digital transformation, and I realized that what I want to do, I can do much better on my own. And that's why I decided last year to become an entrepreneur quite late on in my life. So our game changer is that we use process mining technology to first visualize corporate processes and the associated carbon emissions. And then we can analyze them. Then we can generate recommendations. We can also create reports that companies now need for sustainability reporting. And we plan after 2 or 3 years to introduce ratings as well, because I'm hearing everywhere from people who look at ESG ratings that ESG ratings today are BS because they are based on 80% assumptions, which is way too much. And with our solution, you can look at the real data. You don't need to make any assumptions.
Understood.
And with the platform, you get a holistic picture. So we look at both the cost and the carbon emissions. And the plan is long-term to develop other use cases for sustainability. So not just carbon, but also like a recycling and employee engagement and things like that.
Interesting.
And if you look at the 5-year picture, we want to develop a fully integrated tech platform where we leverage other technologies. For example, blockchain, that you can use blockchain technology and apply our model to that. And then you get the even better results. Another application we see is everybody talks about the metaverse and virtual reality. So right now, all the models are two-dimensional, but down the road, we would like to develop models leveraging VR technology so that you can like put on your goggles and really walk those processes and then understand much better how you can improve them. And reduce your carbon and achieve your goals and become carbon neutral.
So Dirk, what are you looking for? How can I help you?
We are in the seed round, and we are looking for to raise funds of $2 million at a valuation of $8 million. That's what we are looking for now.
Okay, excellent. Would love to find out a little bit more about this. So let's get some feedback for Dirk. It looks like you're getting a lot of positive feedback. Dirk, just so everyone else knows, can you define greenwashing? So I know what that word means, just so everyone else knows, because we have a lot of people here joining us. Go ahead.
Yeah, so greenwashing means that many companies make press statements that they're becoming more sustainable companies, but then if you take a closer look, they're working with lots of assumptions, and in a lot of cases, they're actually not doing so much. For example, almost every day I read something in the papers. Just today I read about banks, financial institutions, when they make investments, they say they want to become more sustainable in making investments. But if you look at where they invest, they still invest a lot in oil and gas and those types of industries. So to really become a sustainable company, you should also be able to prove it and not just say it. And with our solution, you can actually prove that.
Got it. So basically, because my definition of greenwashing is they have all these lofty goals and they talk and they can they can adjust a press release to kind of make it look like they're doing something when they're really not. Is that correct? Right. So Dirk, my question for you, when I look at where the world is going, right? So first of all, I love what you're working on, and then there's a lot of you're getting a lot of love from the crowd because climate is obviously on top of people's minds. But Dirk, as you were speaking, I'm trying to figure out, right? I'll tell you where my brain was going. I'm thinking where the world is going to be in the next 5 to 10 years with regards to climate. Okay. And so when I look at what you're building, for me, it seems obvious when we have all of these, we have these 2050, the year 2050 goals, environmental goals, and all these people, like, it's really interesting. I'm a politician and I have these goals for 2050. Guess where I'm going to be in 2050? Okay. Right. Most of those politicians, Dirk, where are they going to be? Probably dead. Probably dead, right? So it's very easy for me as a government politician to go say, hey, here's my 2050. 2050 is what? 27 years from now, Dirk, right? That's a long time from now, right? And so you have, when we think about greenwashing, I see that as the same thing, Dirk. Is that fair? Right?
Yeah, that's fair.
You see people talking about all this stuff. And so, but when I look at the future, right, how you have companies that are defined and awarded based on their financial performance, right? You have stock markets that are built around shareholder value creation, okay? Yep. My question for you is, do you see this changing? Do you see a world where there's enough pressure from consumers and governments for corporations to start building a process for companies to be evaluated and applauded and appreciated and increase in shareholder value if their ESG score is high enough and they're working on it? Do you see that happening, Dirk?
Yeah, I absolutely see that happening, really across all dimensions. So some people still think sustainability, ESG, is a nice to have, but that was maybe 10 years ago, but that's not the case anymore. And it's developing more and more in that direction, that you need to work on sustainability because everybody's demanding that. Your investors will be demanding that. Your clients will be demanding that. And your employees will be demanding it. And then also the public, just your public image will be demanding it. So everybody will focus on it. And if you're seen as somebody who's falling behind, then it's going to have negative consequences, I think, throughout the whole organization.
Yeah. So Dirk, my view around it is this. When it comes to like climate and all the stuff that you're working on, I always like to focus on the money, right? When I look at what you're doing, my view is that I agree with you, and I'm glad you agree because it's your startup, right? And you've painted a good picture, Dirk. But when I look at your conclusion statement, I wanted to hear what you just said right now, that in the next 5 to 10 years, shareholder value, okay, will not be defined just by profits. It will be defined by the impact that you're going to have on the climate, and your investors, your customers, your employees, and the public are going to hold you more accountable. And we're building the right system right now for you to benchmark your business, because a lot of people are just greenwashing. Benchmark your business with all the different components of the micro tasks that are happening in your organization. Build your scorecard, because what can be measured can be improved, okay? And get yourself future-proof ready, because the future companies are going to, their overall company value is going to have at least a 25% of your value is going to be predicated around your climate, right? Does that make sense, Dirk?
Yeah,
right?
it makes perfect sense. And I agree. In terms of the messaging, it will be much stronger to close with what you said. So it's definitely great feedback. Thank you.
Right. But you get what I'm saying? Like, it's like, you got to do this. What's happening right now. You are, and when I think about who is your customer again, who is the customer of this? Is this a CTO? Is this a COO? Is it the CEO?
Yeah, it's probably a combination in most companies. So the CTO is not the decision maker, I think, but he or she needs to be involved.
Yes.
I think it will be somebody in charge of ESG, which most companies will have. And then also the CFO, because like we said, this is also financial.
Financial element. Yes.
Yeah, and then the CEO making the bold statements. So that person needs to bless everything. So I think it will be driven by ESG and finance, and then with the blessing of the CEO, and then the CTO needs to be onboarded as well.
Because Dirk, the other thing that I wanted to hear, okay, and again, this is just where my brain was going. One was like the end shareholder value. That's the concluding element. Mm-hmm. But the other element is around kind of where this is going to go. And you know, you've worked and you got some amazing experience with the big four accounting firms, right? You know this. And part of this is like that relationship that's going to happen, right? The big four accounting firms, okay, right, are usually there to check your debit versus your credit, right? You know what I mean? Money coming in, money going out. But the next generation, sorry?
Those are the basics, yeah.
Right? Basics, right? I'm just to keep the conversation simple, but you know, money going in, money going out. But the future of these firms are going to be carbon coming in, carbon coming out, correct? And that's going to have a very important factor in the overall value of the business, as well as the, you know, challenges and being from a regulation perspective, right? Yeah. And I, you know, is that fair, Dirk? Right?
Yeah, it's definitely fair, and it's already going in that direction. When I see what kind of work these departments do, so they do sustainability type audits, but what they audit is mainly assumptions, and you can't really audit that. So you can just link it to somebody else making that assumption, and that's all they do. But they don't really have solid underlying evidence, and that's
so
what we want.
You are the source of truth for those accounting firms. Is that right?
That's right, yeah.
You are the source of truth. When these CFOs and COOs or ESG heads are going and talking to the big four, you are the source of truth. And you will be continuing that source of truth, because you talked about how it works, right? Every single process can be analyzed and benchmarked now for carbon, okay? So you have a way of doing it, and you are going to be the source of truth for the big four accounting firms. And what you're going to do is make sure that shareholder value is maintained. Okay, Dirk, I'm looking at this not from the position of somebody that cares about the climate for a second. It's not that I don't, but I feel like, you know, when we look at the world, sometimes it's better to help them understand that this is not just a nice thing that you're doing for the planet. This is, you know, sometimes it's good to kind of go money and then, you know, come backwards in terms of the climate being a gain, okay, instead of a need. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that is definitely our approach, because we are saying you should look at all elements at the same time holistically, both the profitability and the climate part. And but I think linking it back to shareholder value at the end makes a lot of sense and makes the message much stronger. So
Dirk, how many people are greenwashing in your opinion?
Right now, I would say between 60 and 80%.
Okay, right, and I'm sure you know, judging by the feedback from the crowd right now, right? So 60 to 80% of the Fortune 500, the Fortune 1000, the 60 to 80% of global enterprise, okay, is greenwashing, which is a polite way of saying they're lying about their climate goals, correct? Right? You know?
They're lying about their goals and their level of accomplishment.
Yes, exactly, right? So it's a polite way. Greenwashing is the polite way of, that's the polite word that we use, right? Okay? Yeah. And so I think when we look at that, that's kind of something that I wanted to come out as well, Dirk, right? Like, how big of a problem is this right now, right? There are some people that are doing a good job, right, Dirk? Right? You see some of the CPG companies, Unilever, there's some companies that are actually tangibly trying, right, Dirk? Is that fair?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But 60 to 80% of the people, are not taking it seriously. What you have done is you've created a way for using AI and artificial intelligence to be able to benchmark, assess, and measure every single executional component of a business and be that central element of truth, right? That's what you're doing.
Yeah,
and what happens is if you're getting these things right, your hope is over the next 5 years, we lower greenwashing from 60 to 80 to hopefully 30% or 40%, correct?
Yeah,
right.
That we lower both carbon and greenwashing at the same time.
Yes. And Dirk, do you make money doing this for yourself too, or you're just a really nice guy that wants to save the planet? Can you tell me a little bit about the money you're going to make? Because I'm assuming if you are that primary source of truth, right? Because you want to make sure your business is sustainable. Yeah. Is it sustainable? Like when people come on board, I'm assuming that if you are that measurement, you have a lifetime value of 5 to 10 years, right? And you are that de facto resource, and there is a financial benefit to you as well, right? For ESG, is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely, there is. Yeah.
For sure. Okay, all right. Because I was thinking about that as well, right? Because I'm putting my capitalist turban on, right? That's I'm thinking about it like that. Okay. So what I'm going to do, Dirk, would you like me to pitch ESG Explorer to you?
Yes, please.
Okay. So you get to introduce yourself, Dirk. You can be, you know what I mean? Anyone you want. Switzerland, you meet all types of people from around the world. So you can, you know what I mean? You can even be an actor, Dirk. Do you know what I mean? Last week, somebody wanted to be Brad Pitt. A couple of months ago, there was a George Clooney. You can be anyone you want to be. And I am happy to give your 1-minute pitch for ESG Explorer. So over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you. I'm Roger Federer. Maybe some of you will know me. I've been playing tennis for a while. Lately, I had many injuries, and I was planning to play Wimbledon this year one more time, but then I realized it's probably too hard. So I decided to become a venture capitalist. And
fantastic.
And sustainability is a big topic where I live in Switzerland. And I'm very interested, Ash, to find out what kind of project you have going on.
Yes. So, Mr. Federer, I know that you are, in fact, a global citizen. You've played around the world and you've been sponsored by some of the biggest companies on the planet. But the truth is that 60 to 80% of these companies, okay, are greenwashing themselves when it comes to climate. You see all the climate challenges and issues, and you know this as a tennis player. You've seen how outdoor courts and environment wind patterns have changed the game. And what I want to be able to do, having worked over the last 20 years with the accounting Big Four, is radically change how companies today are assessing themselves for climate and actually making a big change. And so what we've done as part of our ESG platform, we have a smart, intelligent, AI-powered platform that allows any company at any size to be able to benchmark their carbon footprint of any process in their business so they can honestly, finally, tangibly measure their carbon footprint. Because as you know, as an athlete, what can be measured can be improved. And our goal is to be that source of truth for all the big accounting firms, several of whom I've spent a lot of time with, to be able to provide this information so people understand their carbon footprints, their carbon credits, but most importantly, be on a path for improvement, because in the next 5 to 10 years, shareholder value is not just about money, and we're going to have investors, consumers, employees, and the public ensuring that shareholder value is also part of their carbon footprint. So I want to talk to you more about this global opportunity. I feel that we're on tap for a multi-billion-dollar company, and we're looking to get the next phase of this going over the next 6 to 12 months. So would love to chat to you over a coffee, but even better, would love to, meet you on a tennis court and shoot some balls if that's something you want to do as well, Mr. Federer. Thank you.
Sounds great. Let's do it. Thank you.
So was that okay, Dirk? You know, I tried to weave in some of the elements about everything that we just spoke about. Was that okay?
Yeah, I think it was amazing. I mean, it's a pretty complex stuff what we do, and how you picked it up and then added the messaging. It was really great. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And what I want, you know, Dirk, because, you know, sometimes it's good just to listen in and listen to other people. And I always find that, you know, investors are not necessarily you know, we want to uncomplicate it for them, you know, uncomplicate it. And so what I attempted to do was think about what you're doing, bring it down, start with where we are, where it's going to go. And then I tried to apply it to I tried to make the pitch relevant to the investor, because you brought up Roger Federer. And I'm like, okay, how is this important to Roger Federer? Right? Yeah. He's made a lot of money from these big companies, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? You know, and so somebody who's made a lot of money from these people should be doing something to make sure that those people are accountable, right? Yeah. And number two, I mean, climate change is affecting everyone. It's not just people in some parts of the world, you know, the wind patterns and, you know, I'm sure in Switzerland right now, you know, his outdoor tennis game at times is definitely affected by climate change. So I tried to make it kind of relevant to him on a personal level as well, right? You know, within the 3 seconds you gave me to prepare for this pitch. So
you're absolutely right. And even more so right now when the focus is on other global issues, right? So I feel like climate change is moving to the background sometimes, and people say, okay, oh, we have so much supply chain disruption, we have to focus on keeping the supply chain up, and we cannot really pursue the goals that we envisioned because we just need to survive for now. So that's why it's becoming even more challenging to follow your sustainability agenda.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. So what I want to do, Dirk, I mean, it was great I'm glad we were able to make the time today. We'll make sure you have a recording of this. Anything that we can do to continue to help guide the ESG Explorer platform. Love what you're doing. Love what impact this can make on the planet. Have a look at the chat. There might be some questions and feedback there for you. Right. And we'll make that happen. But Dirk, I want to thank you again for joining us and look forward to continuing to be part of your success. Thank you.
Thank you very much.